Hello, this is Professor Keane from Western Sydney.
An interesting school, one that I think a lot of my character was built here. There's a lot of mixing of different nationalities, different cultures together, and I really appreciated that in later life, and I appreciated the sense of ethics that was taught here, even though I may have been a bit of a conventional rebel in many ways.
Whilst being at Marist College, Kograh, were you involved in any activities or school events?
Yeah, if I had to look back and see what non-curricular activity I was most involved in, I most enjoyed, was actually school debating.
Okay.
I think debating started when I was in year 6, and we then had the first class in year 7. I did it every year from year 7 to year 12, and it taught me a lot about how to communicate and a lot about how to think on my feet. And it was also a great way to flirt, which I didn't get much practice at, being a bit of a slow starter with the girls, because we mixed with all the girls' schools as well. It was the one time you had a mixed sex situation turning up. But the great fun of doing debates and having your students come along and stir us as well, and the audience role, I love that. I particularly enjoyed the way that in later years we had very conventional religion classes, all the catechism stuff and things like that, which I think like most students you get heartily sick of after a while. What I enjoyed was in my later years, the teachers decided to make them into discussion groups where we'd talk about ethical issues, political issues and so on. And that was something I think very, very few schools had at the time. It was a large part of us all maturing as a group of students, having that open forum and discussing our views from year 10 to about year 12. The main sport I enjoyed was when Ken Boothroyd turned up here, and at the time Ken Boothroyd turned up as the sports director. We'd been coming last in all the MCG, I think, on the MCC sports fields, and Ken, I still remember him standing up on the podium announcing, within 4 years I will guarantee Kograh will win the MCC. We all thought, yeah, pigs might fly. Well, he was dead right. I think we did it in 3 years flat. He really inspired us all in exercise, and we had a running team that used to join and run around the school first thing in the morning. He established weights, and I took up weightlifting, believe it or not. And at one stage I ended up holding a state record in the bench press in the 52 kilo class. Yeah. So the weightlifting, running with Ken, they were very important sporting activities for me.
How did you get to Marist College, Kograh? So how was your travel?
Oh, I came from Hurstville. I actually trained at Hurstville, and the Kograh is like in some way like a mini university experience for a lot of us, because I'm sure it's still the same now. There's school students from here, from James Cook, from Kogarah High, St George, and that huge mass of students turning up and interacting with each other at the train station and travelling to a train. That was also a very useful formative experience you don't often get in a suburban situation.
Okay. What was the biggest class, or what were the class sizes?
Oh God, they were huge. We started with 64 students when I arrived in year 5, and I think by the time we left we were down to about 30 or 35. I think there were 96 students in year 12 in 3 classes, roughly 32 each. That was the smallest class we had.
What was your favourite subject, and what did you enjoy doing?
There's a bit of a problem. Economics became my favourite, and that's why I went on to do an economics degree. I'm afraid I'd have to criticise the capacity of some of the brothers to keep up with my class. We had a weird class. There were 7 of us who got Commonwealth scholarships, and one of my fellows, Jim Prendergast, won the University Medal in Electrical Engineering. He came first in the class, but the top 5 were incredibly bright students, and I think now looking back on it, it was extremely tough for the teachers to walk into a class like ours and know the brain power that top group had, because when I just thought I was an average student in some ways when I was at Marist, but the best I became was second, and I was ranked between 2nd and 10th in the class, and normally average about 3rd or 4th, and I thought I was sort of a run of the mill. I got to university, I was still doing the same thing. There was something unusual about that class and its capacities. So as a result, the teachers, I think, weren't quite up to it, except for people like, in the particular case with economics, Tim Keating. No relation to Paul. But he was an inspirationally good teacher, and I'm afraid if I hadn't had Tim, I don't know what course I would have ended up doing.
Kogarah had at that time?
At the time it would have been the science labs, because they were a fairly new innovation. They actually, I think they were built while I was at the school, so they opened up and they were damn good science labs. And that was a useful inspiration for students who wanted to do a career in science. So that was quite good. I think in general the facilities here are cramped in terms of school area, but there's something about the character of the place, and the school itself is in a beautiful location.
Yeah.
We used to call it all the fools on the hill, you know, in honour of the old Beatles song, but there was something special about the physical location. And it wasn't so much the physical facilities, it's the spirit of the school. There was a strong ethos here, and that's what I think was the most attractive thing about the school. Probably still is, I hope so.
Now I believe that around 1968 they had the cane. Teachers had the cane. What was your most influencing discipline encounter?
In terms of getting the cane?
In terms of receiving any punishment?
I got it for bad handwriting.
Oh.
And what I thought was ridiculous, and I challenged Brother Frederick over this at the time, when he was giving me the cane once. I got caned on the left hand for bad handwriting. I am left-handed. I said, the least you're going to cane me for bad handwriting, hit me with the other hand, and he wouldn't change. He stuck with hitting me on the left hand. I saw that as incongruous, and I still do. But the cane was an ineffective control mechanism, because some of the tough kids in the class used to actually enjoy provoking the teacher and getting the cane and showing they were tough enough to take it, which was silly. It backfired in some ways on the teachers who used it to some degree. There were some who were strong disciplinarians, like Brother Martin in Latin, and he used it as a tool of command. I would rather see teachers trying to inspire students to control them than use discipline.